Here
Let's
we are
go.
in Sydney.
Here we are in Sydney, standing in front of some old photos. Dex, thanks for coming out. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
It's my absolute pleasure. I've been talking about this for quite some time, so I'm glad to be able to finally make it work. Now, what coffee did you have this morning?
I had a cappuccino.
Cappuccino.
Yeah.
Love it. Fantastic.
My go-to coffee.
Yeah. Put a chocolate on the top. And we always ask what camera you bring with you. And today we've got a great story. So would you mind telling me about the camera you got in your hand?
Well, this is my grandfather's camera. So this is a very special camera and it's very dear to me. This is what he takes his photos with, an Agfa clock.
Wow.
And it's a prized possession and it's on one of the shelves in my living room and I'm very proud of it. And I think I've got a lot of genes from my grandfather. He loved to travel, he loved photography, he loved architecture, and I think a lot of genes that he has are left in me. And I'm getting bald as well, so that's the same
Aren't
thing.
we all?
So this is how I started my photography journey, so to speak. I had my little pocket camera when I was 12 or 13. After I saw this camera, I was completely intrigued by photography. So I started taking pictures at a very young age. I was 12 or 13 with my first little camera, taking photos. And then as I grew older, I had my first film camera. It was a Praktika, like an East German solid camera.
Wow.
And then when I went traveling, I had my first DSLR and I dabbled into fine art with long exposures I really enjoyed. But the one thing I really did not enjoy as part of photography is post-processing. So I hated sitting in front of my computer on a Saturday and Sunday, moving sliders from left to right, aiming to get all the pixels 100% perfect, and I really didn't enjoy that. And all of a sudden,
Bam.
this happened.
Yes.
So I had my camera on me. I could process on the go because I process my photos in 2, 3, 4 minutes and it's done. And I can walk on and take more photos. I don't have to sit behind a computer on my free Saturday and Sunday. I'd rather be out and about taking photos than looking at a screen for another 8 hours. And that's what I do in my graphic design work on a daily basis already.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, you sit in front of a computer.
This is perfect for me. I can capture whatever I see, wherever I am. So it's been perfect for the last 10 years. And
10
I've
years
documented my life just with the iPhone. So thanks to my grandfather. This one was produced in the 1960s. And here we are now. So
that's incredible. How old were you when you got your grandfather's camera?
I think I was like 12
years
when I
old?
saw it and when I was inspired to take photos. And it's a shame because he died when I was very young, so I'd never had the opportunity to speak with him and talk about architecture and traveling and photography.
Right.
Because, like I said, we're very alike in that sort of sense. So, but yeah.
That's such
very young age.
Such a strong story, and to have a physical object as well that connects you back to your grandfather.
Yeah.
Especially one that's connected to your passion as well, which is photography. It's so important. I love that. So, iPhone. This is where I think I didn't realize everything you share on Instagram is shot on iPhone.
Yeah.
And for the last 10 years.
Yes, correct.
Tell me about, do you have a third-party app that you use on the phone? Do you use the default camera app? And I'm curious to know about your workflow. And I'm assuming you love shooting on the iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise you wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. What I love is just to document my life, and whatever I see, wherever I am, I take a photo. And if I see a photo is sort of okay, then I can quickly adjust the contrast, because I love high contrast. Mm-hmm. And I have one favorite app on the phone that gives me a noir look and feel. Yeah. And I often crop my photo to squares because I think that's really exciting format. And that's it. That's my workflow.
That's it.
Like I said, I don't want to sit in front of my computer on my free weekend looking at pixels. That's not photography, what photography is all about for me. Yeah. I just want to capture what I see, and if it's good enough for me, then it's good enough to post on wherever I want to post it.
That's you said a couple of things that really resonates with me around obviously not wanting to spend your free time indoors in front of a computer and actually being out and about. And you said it's not for you, and I appreciate that, because some people feel differently about that. Some people actually do spend quite a bit of time in the post-processing world as opposed to in the camera, outside, working on that, and that's fine.
Also, the technical part doesn't really interest me. I'm very intuitive when it comes to shooting. And people ask me, like, are you using a 2.5 or 3.6 lens? I have no idea what that means. I'm just very intuitive. What I shoot, if I like it, I'll post it. And that whole technical part of my brain is not working. That creative part of my brain and intuition works for me. Technical aspect of photography is very foreign to me, and I'd like to stay away from it as well. I could learn a lot when I look into the technology of photography. I would learn a lot more, but it sort of scares me, and what I do works for me, so I just do what I do.
Again, you hit the nail on the head in my opinion. You do it for yourself. You don't do it for anybody else. You do it because it makes you happy.
Exactly.
It sounds like you're not interested in the technical part because it just doesn't interest you, and you'd much rather let your creative mind overtake the technical part of your brain and just enjoy being in the moment.
I get away with it. What I see is different people say, they're always surprised. They're like, oh, I didn't know this view was here. And it's like, well, I see those views all the time. Obviously, everyone has a different eye.
Of course.
But my eye, I think I can get away with images that are not perfect in a lot of people's eyes, because you can work on that black area or you can bring out the light in that area. I don't care. If I'm happy with the photo, it's my photo, and I post it on my social media, and that is basically my photo album.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I'm very happy doing what I do.
And you're doing it for yourself and nobody else.
Yeah.
I think it takes a lot of pressure off when you're out doing photography to make yourself happy, as opposed to doing photography to appeal to a certain audience or to make others happy. And I think that goes for life anyway. When we're living life for ourselves, to make sure that we're getting some joy out of it, as opposed to trying to impress others with the cars that we drive or the homes we live into. I think it's a lot more fun that way.
Yeah, enjoyment is really important in me taking photos as well. It's taking out the stress I feel at work. People think I'm a professional photographer sometimes, but I'm not. I'm a professional graphic designer. And in my work, I'm dealing with a lot of pressure and budgets and clients that want this and that and such and such. As a photographer, I can just be a free creative agent and do my thing. And I'm very happy about that. And it's so relaxing. It's one of those hobbies I couldn't live without. It's like I couldn't live without hiking in the great outdoors. I couldn't live without my photography, because it's a great hobby to have. And I don't want it to become my professional job, because all the stress and budgets and stuff that will come with a professional job, I don't want that to be part of my photography.
I hear that from so many photographers who do street or do landscape, and they go, well, we don't want to monetize it, because the moment I do, the stress of it becoming the way I make a living and pay my bills and deadlines and clients, it's going to take a lot of that joy away from it. So I hear this so much from so many different people, and I think you're spot on. It's for us, it's the same thing for me as well, where everything I do, I'm a parent, I have a full-time job, everything is scheduled. I have to be at a certain place at a certain time, whether it's work meetings, whether it's picking up kids, or whether it's dropping kids off, or whatever it may be. Everything is very strictly scheduled, and you have to be there at a certain time. But for me, photography is like, I just grab my camera, I walk out the door, and I spend 1, 2, 3 hours wherever I want to go, for as long as I want to go, and I come back home, and that's it.
Yeah. With using the iPhone, I have the phone on me all the time. I don't have to be conscious of the fact, okay, I'm shooting today, I have to pack my bag. this is in my bag all the time because it's my phone. Everyone carries their phone, so I don't have to think about what lens, what accessories, this is all
That's
I
it.
need.
That's all
And
you
I
need.
can take photos every time of the day, wherever I am, and I don't have to. And I always tell people, like, people look down on iPhone photography because that just is, everyone takes photos with an iPhone. But you can take a really bad photo with a $5 million camera. It's all about what you capture.
Yes, yes.
And this is my way of, my vehicle to capture my life. And if my photo is good enough and I'm excited by it, then I'll post it. And it doesn't matter what camera you use. It's all about what you capture, the beautiful light or that anniversary or that person or that piece of architecture that is amazing. It's all about what you capture and what vehicle you use. It can be anything.
Every time I complain about something when it comes to an equipment I'm using, I take a moment and I go, what did the photographer 80 years ago do with the massive camera on huge tripods that weighed probably 10 kilos? Then I kind of get humbled and I carry on. So you're absolutely spot on.
Obviously, there's a limit with how big I can print my photos, but cameras are getting really good nowadays. If I were a pro, I'd probably go back to a proper camera because you want to sell prints. People want it 1 by 1 meter. I can't do that with an iPhone.
Right.
But I'm not in the business of selling photos. If you like my photo, I'll give it to you because I'm very happy that you enjoy the picture I've taken and you feel something and you think it's a beautiful photo, I'll just give it to you.
That's so kind. Wow.
And if I were a pro, I had to think about pricing and all that stuff. No. So,
selling, shipping, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
so
I hear you.
That part of photography is, again, becoming a pro, no, that's a no from me.
So I'm assuming then for the foreseeable future, your everyday camera is always going to be the phone that you have in your pocket.
Well, we never knew that this was going to happen.
Right.
So maybe somewhere in a lab, they're already producing something that will change the world again.
Again, yeah.
So until that time, I just use my iPhone. And maybe if I want to dabble into infrared photography, I need a proper camera.
Yes, yes.
Do something different. Because every now and then I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit. I'm still having fun, but I've been to every corner of the street in Sydney already 1 million times.
Oh, I know that feeling.
But then there might be somebody walking in a particular pocket of light that is sensational and different and new. So there's always going to be something new, and my intuition tells me, like, just keep going and something will happen.
Something will happen.
Sometimes it doesn't, and you go home deflated and like you want to throw away your camera and do something completely different. But yeah, sometimes I feel I'm repeating myself, but I still have fun with it, and there might be something new on the horizon that we don't know of yet.
It's a very positive outlook on photography because I have similar feelings. I live in Sydney. I go to the same few blocks because that's my work commute, home commute, and like you said, you can only go so many times to the same corner, same spot before you go, all right, I've seen it. But that one time, you may find something that you haven't seen before. So
different locations make a difference as well. Go to a new city.
Yes,
I recently went to Istanbul. It was amazing.
Jealous.
You're telling me you're going to Japan.
Yes.
That was amazing. But I did feel the pressure there because there's so much to see. Every corner of your eye, there's a million interesting things. So I find it really hard to find my feet, find that one frame that sort of settled me down. And okay, I've now captured something that is truly Japanese. It had Japanese type and silhouettes and architecture in it. I was like, okay, I can settle down now and I can just take photos like I normally do. So every now and then there's pressure because when I go on holidays, people say, oh, we look forward to your photos. And I'm like, okay, I have to
don't say
deliver the goods again. Just ask me about the food that I'm going to eat or anything else. But yeah, locations
definitely help.
Yeah.
So let me tap into that because you said something that was quite interesting to me. you said you need to kind of capture that one image maybe that gives you a sense of accomplishment, if I'm saying that correctly or understanding it correctly. Gives you a sense of you've kind of done what you wanted to do, so you can let the pressure drop and actually do what you want to do. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it's about people's expectations. And I put pressure on on myself as well, because I'm in the creative industry. I'm supposed to be a creative person. I want to show what everyone sees in a different way. So I always, when people take a picture of the Opera House, just like that,
Yeah.
I'm on the ground or high up. I'm always looking for a different angle to make it me, to make it different, to make it unusual, to make it interesting for me to photograph as well.
Of course.
So, and with the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge, that's very difficult. But I'm trying to come up with new angles, different takes, be creative. So that pressure can sometimes get to me, but then again, okay, I just have to let it go and follow my intuition. Something will happen. I will see a beautiful reflection or a person, or the light is in a specific way that is totally new. So yeah, I'll find my way.
Love that. And that leads us to, we're actually on the way to the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge, because we're going to look at a couple of things. One is you brought a book with you that you did during COVID. And there's a very specific photo that is a reflection we're going to look at. And you're going to show us how you found that reflection, because most people, I'm going to guess, are going to walk by that spot and just probably not even notice it. So I'm looking forward to that bet. We're walking in the historic Rocks area in Sydney with Dex. Dex, we just realized you didn't do your full name intro, so I kind of said your name and what's the camera you're holding, so I apologize. Do you want to do an intro now, or you want to do one at the very end, or how do you want to do it?
I can do it now.
Yeah.
This, my full name is Douwe Dijkstra. I'm the John Smith of Holland. But when people see my name written down, they have no clue how to pronounce it. Some people call me Duvet. It's all very funny. Wow. But when I was backpacking around Australia a long time ago, like 25 years ago, somebody said, like, oh, this is way too hard. We'll call you Dex because of my last name, Dijkstra. And that sort of stuck, and I'm still Dex.
You're still Dex?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got the intro out of the way now.
And as you can hear, I've got an accent. I'm originally from Amsterdam. Studied graphic design in Amsterdam. I'm still a graphic designer to this day. I traveled around the world in 2001 for almost a year. And Australia was one of my main destinations. It was my base. I traveled around south, north, west, east, Tassie. I flew to New Zealand, came back for another round, and then on my way home to Amsterdam, just before I landed, I thought, like, one day I would love to live and work in Sydney. So in 2003, I came back, found myself a job, and I'm still here, and I'm living in one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
Yeah, I agree. The city is absolutely incredible. I mean, look at this light, look at this location, the people, the coffee, everything.
And the sunshine.
And the sunshine. I mean, even in winter, we have lovely sunshine. Okay, we're getting close to the Opera House. Did you want to sit down and have a look at the book first and talk about the photo before we...
Yeah.
Yeah? There's a couple of photos we want to look at. One is the bench, yes, that's shooting leading lines towards the Opera House, and the other one's a reflection one.
Is a reflection on just street furniture. I love reflections, and they are in everything. There's glass, there's water, there's aluminium, there's metal.
So much.
And they make for awesome imagery. You just point your camera at them and you see a completely surreal world, because what you see with your eyes, you can't see that when you not have those reflections and your camera in front of you, and you can create some awesome imagery. And I'm always on the lookout for reflections.
Reflections?
There was a story somebody told that sort of is me, that when people walk their dogs at the end of a walk are really tired, not because of the running around, it's because of the sniffing. They sniff everything. When I do my photography, I walk for hours and hours and kilometers, I'm not tired because I'm walking. I'm tired because my eyes are
Looking at everything.
trying to find everything.
Everything.
That's why I'm tired.
That's a very good perspective.
But
Wow.
reflections are one of my go-to things that keep me interested in photography and challenge me, and they are such amazing things that you get for free. You don't have to buy another camera to find them or to take your photos. There's no accessories you need. It's there for you to use, and you can get some beautiful imagery out of it.
How did you, I'm just trying to think about, like me personally getting into seeing reflections, it was a bit of, I think, a period where there's no light, and I just had to get creative around the imagery I was creating. And I started to notice reflections in on glass storefronts, reflections on cement floors. Even when it rains, you get a bit of reflection on the ground. So
Yeah.
how did you come across noticing reflections more? I know you've been doing this for a very long time, but I'm curious if you remember the maybe first time you kind of had this spark of, oh, I'd never noticed reflection in X or Y, or...
Yeah, I think you see them amongst your peers and you see them in books, and then you're looking for them
course.
yourselves. And I realized that if you point your camera at something that is in front of you, with a reflection added to it, you get a way wider context of where you are and where a person you're shooting or a building you're shooting is. So it adds another layer. Plus, it's very surprising. It's because you can't really control that reflection because everything's happening so fast, and it's wonderful to see what can happen with a reflection. And that whole, it's a simple trick, but sometimes it can be very effective.
Couldn't agree more. We've got heaps of glass over there at the moment as well on that side. But it all depends on what you want to create at the end of the day, right? What you're trying to come up with from a creative perspective that's unique to your style and your surroundings.
Yeah, and I pride myself being a creative, and I always want to be different and find that different angle or surprising angle or different to what everyone else is doing. Obviously, everyone's unique, but yeah, I push myself to be creative.
That's the beauty of, I think, what we do as well, is trying to think about things a little bit differently and have our own unique visual style on it, as opposed to, there's nothing wrong, if you're starting out photography, there's nothing wrong about going out and trying to replicate a photo that you love. I think it will help you learn how to compose images. But after a while, when you've been doing it for a few years, it doesn't mean as much to you to replicate something that's already been done. And I know people will argue that, you know, a lot of photography has already been done and it's difficult to come up with something completely new.
Yeah.
However, I believe you can still have your own very unique take, your own visual style on something that's been done.
It's my biggest challenge, like living here in Sydney, to come up with an interesting photo of both the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge in the one frame. Without any, I call it Photoshop wizardry. There's nothing wrong with Photoshop, but I'm just using one take, and I'm trying to capture both icons in a unique and different and creative way. That's the highest challenge I set myself here in Sydney. And there's a gazillion photos out there of both icons, and I try to be as creative and different as I can to, and that's a great challenge I set myself.
Huge challenge, yeah.
And every now and then I find an angle or a reflection, and I'll show you one in a little bit, that I was like, I still remember finding that reflections, and what it did, what it created, it was absolutely awesome. And it gave me goosebumps. So whenever I get goosebumps, I'm like, yes.
Yes.
Yes. That doesn't happen very often, maybe once or twice a year. I often go through the motions and take photos, but every now and then there's that one particular photo that is special, and yeah, that makes my day.
That makes your day. That makes you happy, yeah, that photo that you're proud of. That's amazing. While we're walking to the spot, I want to talk to you about the book, because you said, if I remember correctly, during COVID, you obviously didn't shoot at all, right?
No.
So you spend that time putting together this book, is that right?
Yes, I always wanted to do a book. I've been documenting my life here in Sydney for so long now, but I never knew when to stop. Because there's always a new building, there's always a new light rail that you want to include in your scene, or a new building. And all of a sudden we were stuck indoors because we couldn't go anywhere. I was
Right.
like, okay, cut, this is where I stop, and this is when I will finish my book. And it came as sort of a moment that everyone was at home, so I had the time. And I couldn't take any photos, and we didn't know what was going to happen with the world. So I was like, okay, this is my book, and I've documented it with my iPhone. That's my take. And I put a series of photos together, the beach and architecture and the icons and the suburbs and everything I enjoy in Sydney. Put them in sections, and it was one of the hardest things to do, because I can design your book just like that, but when it's your own work, it's really hard because you're emotionally attached to some of the photos.
There we go, yeah.
But then other people think it's, no, that one doesn't work on that page, and you're like, oh. So, yeah, very hard. I've got chapters as well, and there's a bit of color on the chapters. So it took me sleepless nights to just decide on what color that should be. And yeah, it's a great process because it makes you look at your work. If you do a book, you have a concept or idea and stick to it, and then you look at your edit and see what's missing, what's not good enough.
Right.
What
okay.
should I shoot again? What do my friends think of it? So I ask people to be brutally honest. Like, is that a good photo? Is that one sitting next to that one? Is that working? And Australians are very polite. I just wanted to ask them, just say, no, out, in, keep that one in. And yeah, it was a great process, and it was printed beautifully. The Lord Mayor wrote a little story, because I'm sort of new to the city as an immigrant, and I've now lived here for 20 years, and it was a great thing to create. So I'm very proud of my book, and it's now sitting in the National Library in Canberra as well.
Oh wow,
so
that's amazing.
Couldn't be more proud. And I would love to see somebody in 100 years look at my book and say, that was shot with just an iPhone.
Just an iPhone.
So, yeah.
In 100 years. I mean,
very proud of my achievement.
You should be. You should be very proud. Congratulations. And I've had the pleasure of looking at your book as well, which is fantastic. So where are we, Dex? Where are we at the moment?
We are at the bench where I shot the cover of my book. I came across this composition, and I was like, oh, I really liked it, and I shot it as well. This is my take, and what is very important is the angle, the depth of field, and especially the light, the lines. I'm a graphic designer, so I love all these lines and shapes.
Yes.
And very important in my photography always is the sort of the human aspect. If there wasn't any people here, and I had to wait a long time for people to walk into the right spot, it feels empty and it lacks soul, in my opinion. So it's really important that there's people in my shots. So this is my take. Yeah, and it's my book. There's over 200 photos of my time in Sydney.
Over how many years of photography?
10 years, shooting with just the iPhone. So, yeah, very happy
That's
with
amazing. That's a huge, huge accomplishment. 10 years, that's a monumental accomplishment.
Yeah.
You should be very proud of that.
Thank you.
This is where we get to a point. Oh, I think we had actually one more thing. The reflection. Did you want to show that reflection as well?
Bollard. Yeah, there's one photo.
Give me,
And it's happening
it's
over there.
And it's quite busy at the moment up there.
It's all right because I always want people in my shots. So
Okay, let's go see if we can
I
get
can
this.
show you where I did find my reflection and how happy I was and what it can create.
Okay, let's go.
It's a bit tricky with like proper cameras. It's hard to get your lens in the position it needs to be.
Right.
But you can see it's just street furniture,
Yeah.
but it has a reflective surface. So this is what I use as my reflective surface. And what you simply do is you put your camera here
see if we can
and
get
you
this to show. There we go.
get
Yeah.
these beautiful reflections.
That's so good.
And you just wait for people
Do
to
their thing.
get into the right spot.
That is a very creative way of finding reflection.
And this is my workflow. I can quickly show you.
Yeah.
You go to edit. I pick my favorite noir filter,
Yep.
and then I crop my photo. I like this to be square. Obviously, I picked the best one where every silhouette and everything's in the right spot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my photo. That's my post-processing.
That's beautiful.
And
All in
if
the
I'm
Photos
happy
app.
with the photo, then yeah, that's it.
All in the Photos app and done in
That's how I rock and roll.
30 seconds. I love that. That's incredible.
What's better than like sitting in front of a computer at home on a Friday or
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday afternoon?
Being out on a
I want to
beautiful
be
day.
here taking photos. So yeah, pretty happy.
Speaking of photos, you got all these photographers out here of a wedding, from the looks of it, and the massive cruise ship, as always, in the harbor.
So that's another example of like shooting the opera house in a creative, new,
way.
different way.
Absolutely.
So I've been here a million times, but I'm sure there's another reflection
That you'll
out there that
find
I haven't
somewhere.
found that I will find, and yeah.
That's so good. Dex, we're getting towards the end. This is the question I always ask people at the very end. Is there anything that I need to talk about, or that I was supposed to ask you that I haven't asked you that you want to chat about now?
I always get a lot of reactions when I say like you can take a really bad photo with a $5 million camera. So just stick to what you're comfortable with. It's not about the latest
Greatest.
version of your camera, and I can say that because I'm not very technical. Just follow your instincts. That's like it comes easy for me. That works for me, and a lot of people are a bit afraid of like to follow their instincts, but try it. Leave all that baggage that is in your head behind at home and try to be open and see what happens out there rather than focus on the right camera, the right lens. If it's the 2.4 or 2.3, doesn't matter. It's all about what you capture, the beautiful light and the scene. And most of all, have fun. Don't let it stress you out.
That's beautiful advice, and I can't even top that. So I thank you so much for coming out.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having
your time.
me. Thanks,
My pleasure.
Holman.
Thank you so much. Speak soon. Bye.